bro?
Yo, what's up?
All right. Come a little closer, Geechee. I ain't gonna bite you. That's better. That's dark.
I wonder why. You try
Is
this
it
thing
dark in
without
here
some
or is it
headset.
me? Huh?
Nah, the light bouncing off your glasses though. It ain't dark.
Yo, Era. You close those doors for sound quality. This is a first class operation here. This is the top flight studio of the world. What's up, bro? I'm sorry.
Yo, what up?
You know, here's the thing. Oh, let me turn off the music.
I wonder if I think I should use a headset. Do I sound?
Why?
Wow,
what did you do? You start selling drugs or something?
Come on, man. Why you gonna put my business in the street?
I'm sorry.
Damn, that's the first thing you want.
I mean, how else do brothers get ahead? You know, Jay-Z.
Hey, I sound better without the headphones.
You sound great.
Cause I wonder if I should just keep the headphones on. Anyway,
I feel like I'm darker than normal.
Nah.
Nah,
I don't think so. I mean, you got you got a bright ass red shirt on.
No, it's orange. See, my lighting ain't together.
That's orange?
Yes.
Oh shit.
My lighting's not together. Something's going on. All right, I have it fixed. Oh, you know what I did?
What's that?
I took this whole setup apart, the monitor, everything. I took everything apart. And then, like, I was up front, and it was like 15 minutes or so before we had to come set up. So I had to rush back here and put all this stuff back together. The computer, the monitor, the mic, the keyboard. I had to rush back here and put it all back together because I had jacked up because I had gotten, I was trying to move some stuff around here. But long story short, it was all in a huff.
That's why your color off? I mean, it looked bright. So it just, I guess maybe the color thing is off because that looked red, but you look bright. Like I can see detail. Like the camera is good. I ain't never see them Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles behind you all that time, or Incredible Hulk, whatever that is.
This is a samurai turtle. This was my oldest son. When he left, went off to college, and
like an Incredible Hulk turtle, bro.
No, it's just a samurai Michelangelo with bamboo sword. So he's in training gear.
Oh,
yeah, that's the best thing about having sons, man. I got a whole bunch of toys because I was able to like get a lot of toys under the auspices that I'm trying to, give my sons a fuller life. So I was able to.
It's really your toys though.
Extend. Oh, I fixed the thing. Let me show.
Class con.
So I put it there. Anyway, yeah, I had to rush back here and put this whole setup together. Thank goodness my shit is like mad janky and struggle.
Who that white lady holding that box, bro?
She's a hand model.
You can't pull the thing up or down. So
what do you mean?
Like the background.
I could switch us around.
No, that ain't gonna work. That took it all the way. No, I was just seeing if you could see the class con thing.
No, sorry.
Nah.
I'm not that based. That's not. Oh, is it Leonardo? That's not Leonardo.
Who? Oh, Raphael. Raphael, the red one.
Yeah.
Donatello's like.
Oh, right. It is Leonardo. Michelangelo got the nunchucks. My bad. Whatever. Yeah. All right. Let's jump in with both. We got too much. Let me pull the thing up, man. I got a gift.
What kind of
One of my brothers sent me a gift, a gaming monitor, and so I'm like able to play video games at what do you say, 1420p, like vivid.
On what?
On what do you mean on what?
Like on what system on the
It's
computer?
PC. It's a PC
Oh,
games.
and your processor that fast or good enough?
Yeah, yeah. I have a gaming system which was also gifted, and I have now a gaming monitor which was gifted to me. I just got it a few days ago. I don't know if dude wants to remain anonymous or not. I'd be happy to say who it was, but then you know how it is. I don't want his relatives and his homies to start hitting. Oh, you send that shit to Bro Diallo? What about me? I don't know his situation well enough. But man, like my eyes are like damn near burnt out of my head. But I was playing right now. All I'm playing is Age of Empires 4 and Dawn of War unification mod. And it's like I can't even play the game because I'm so busy zooming in, looking at the texture on the face. Like the orcs, you can see like the grooves in the teeth of the orcs. Like, and you use the Tau Empire and their mechs, you can see like the metallic sheen on their mech suits. Anyway, I know you. I could tell. Okay,
I mean,
okay.
I ain't played video games.
Okay, let's get to the topic.
Listen,
I'm
I
trying
ain't
to
played
share
video game in a long
my
time,
interest
bro.
in my life.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you, you should. If I sit in the room with my brother when he playing the game, I be asking him all type of shit that he be like, man, you gotta get to go somewhere else, man. You fucking up the buzz.
Well, I'm just trying to share with you my interest.
I mean, I used to like games. I used to like The Sims.
I see you sitting there like, okay, yeah.
But I don't even know what game you talk about. Like
I said,
and I was waiting.
Dawn of War unification
I don't know
mod.
what that means. I was about to wait for like, are you saving the world? Is it some? Because
Well,
the
no,
game
there's multiple worlds.
Oh,
The Imperium of Man, the Imperium of Man has over 1 million planets under its empire.
damn!
And it's under multiple threats from
million
Xenos.
planets.
Huh?
The game got 1 million planets so you could play forever.
No, well, in this particular game where you play the campaign, I think it's about 5 or 6 worlds, and there's been a rift in the space time, and so the warp has opened a rift between real and unreal space.
And like another good guy or the bad guy.
And a bunch of demonic forces are coming through the rift. And there are other factions of Xenos, alien species, and demonic species that are coming to try to take over this particular solar system. And the Necrons have reemerged from their tomb world to wipe out all life in existence.
And you're the good guy.
No, there are no good guys in this. That's why I be trying to tell y'all in the real world when y'all want to say Democrats are good versus there are no good guys. I don't know how.
You helping to destroy the world in the game?
Huh? No, I'm trying to claim the world for one of the factions. You can play as any of the factions in the game.
Well, the game my brother played, when he have some type of, he take over land and then he can either pay his employees right. If he don't pay them right, they can strike. But then if they strike, he can kill them. It's
what
like
game is that?
I don't know.
I used to play a game like that called Caesar, where you were basically rising through the ranks of the Roman Empire as a local governor, and you can get up to be. But yeah, you could do that. You'd have riots, and sometimes you set up a coliseum, and the gladiators would riot, and you could either put them down, pay them off. You could hire mercenaries,
I know,
and build economies. But
yeah, that's he something like that.
And I've played those games. Those are civilization building games.
Okay, yeah.
Where this game is not about building civilization, even though it has resource management and base building. The main objective is warfare. You don't have culture. Like some of the games, you have worship. And you get points for culture, building theaters and training actors. But those games don't really have a multiplayer element. But like I said, I don't need you to pretend to care.
Listen, I ask questions about it. I don't watch a lot of movies, but if somebody tell me watch a movie, I'll watch it. And I sure as hell don't play no more games no more. But when I played the games, you actually would be hating on my game playing because I used to play a whole season in college football. I used to recruit. See what I mean? I would be recruiting the athletes from.
Let me tell you something. All my homies are like that too.
I did Dion before Dion did Dion. I would go to the black college, recruit all the players over there, and pull them up in the D1, and we just start winning national championships. That's what I used to do.
Can I ask you something, man?
Yeah,
You're an oppressed black man on planet Earth.
oppress.
Oppressed.
Sure.
It don't look it to look over your shoulders,
This is
but
oppression.
knowing you personally for a number of years now, I know you are a black man who lives under oppression as I do. And so
Absolutely.
you want to get away from, you want a distraction, you want to relax. And instead of going to the far, far antiquity past or into the distant future or going into the stars to do something supernatural or otherworldly,
What, getting high?
no, in terms of video games.
You killing people in that video game. So what you talking about?
Oh no, yeah, well, only if
Yeah.
they are under demonic possession of chaos.
And right. And
Other
I'm
humans,
playing, I'm playing
I
sports.
play as humans, so I'm only killing xenos.
Oh, okay. Well, I ain't
I'm
killing
only
nobody in the
killing
football game.
alien species and demonic entities, which aren't really demonic. They're chaos demons or chaos gods. So they're not devils as we know them, but they are other dimensional malevolent entities. But all that aside, I don't understand when people play basketball and football video games. Why not just go play basketball or football? I play basketball.
The season
So why the
component.
hell would I pick up a game to play freaking basketball on a freaking game when I could travel to another universe?
No. The seasonal component is the thing that you're playing.
It's
You don't
whack.
even,
You can watch that on. You can
no,
watch
you
flesh
cannot.
and bone.
You listen, you cannot recruit athletes. You can't do the, you can't like go into different neighborhoods and give people scholarships. You can't do that. You can't do that in the real world. So on the game, that's what you do.
That's
Like,
lame
you
as
know,
hell. But it happens in the real world, and you could do that if you put forth the effort.
I don't
It's
know.
happening in the real world. I don't play basketball, football,
I told you I
freaking
play Sims though.
golf,
So Sims, you would say the same thing?
soccer, FIFA. I got a little cousin. He plays FIFA. I don't deal with that, man. My mind is too
Advance.
too dynamic.
Well, listen, I
To
played the
sit and
Sims.
play. You know, there's a video game where you can pressure wash dirty cars.
What? Grand Theft Auto?
No.
Oh, you talking about like those app games?
No.
Because
It's a
that sounds like a
pressure
fruit slice game, like the fruit
wash
slice.
simulator video game called Power Wash Simulator.
And what you get for washing the car?
Satisfaction of a clean car.
Oh my gosh.
But that's what I feel like you be doing.
No.
That's the kind of
No, that's not even close.
It's
Now-
30% off on Steam. You can go get it right now, Geechee.
No, if
After
the
you're
game,
done playing basketball and recruiting players and giving basketball scholarships, then you can go and play Power Wash Simulator.
that's not a power. That's whack. No, but so
30%
those
off.
games, like the farm game where you have to like rotate the crops and those stuff fun to me. I play stuff like that. The farm simulator. I'll play
I play games that have farming, but the farm is so that you can create an agricultural trade and and to build up your economy to defend from the Huns that are going to attack your village.
I'll play that game. That's
But
the game
okay.
I play. But
I'm going to get you this for Christmas.
no. I ain't
Power
gonna
Wash.
do
You
it.
like playing pedestrian games. Your imagination has been destroyed. I say all the time, the worst thing to happen to African people under the Ma'afa was the loss of our imagination. Let me
Ray
go
said,
back and pull
Ray
up
said
the-
they about to buy this Power Wash game, and then they got mad, so they say no. See, Ray, you can have mine because I don't want it. I don't want that shit.
but it's no different than basketball.
It's not.
I can go out tomorrow and do both of those.
That's one of the
things.
worst comparisons.
Go
you
out
ever made.
tomorrow and power wash or play basketball. I could go do that tomorrow. I could go to LA Fitness right now until 11 o'clock and play basketball. Why the hell would I do that on a video game? But you know,
Cause man, you can't put your dream team together, man.
while we're on the topic, you know, I put on there X-Men 97. Have you seen that?
No, I looked at it because you put it on there, but nah.
I just finished watching X-Men 97. And the reason I'm so late, because it's been out, most people have watched it through already. It's
The
only
whole
season
thing,
one
right?
season, is because I went back, but I'm like, ooh, X-Men 97. But I want to go back and watch the X-Men of the 90s, the original series. Even though I've seen it, it's been years, over a decade probably, since I saw the original X-Men
Mm-hmm.
animated series. So I went back and I was just, whenever I found time, just looking at an episode. And this is the main thing I want to say. But you ain't seen it, so we can't get into it. But maybe
Wait,
people,
I read through it. Stan Lee died and wrote this before he died or something.
I don't know.
It says Stan
I don't
Lee.
think Stan Lee wrote that.
Stan Lee, creators.
He's the creator of the X-Men, but I don't think he wrote the animated series.
Oh.
Because 92, because in 92 when the X-Men came out, I was a senior in high school. So it was kind of between senior and then I went on to college and I used to work at the student center and I had
Mhm.
no money to really kick it or do anything. So, like 92, beside if I wasn't in class or doing homework, I was basically watching TV because I had no loot. And so and I was literally living off of vegan and gluten patties. So I watched X-Men from the 92, 93, 94. I watched that whole series and it was like, I really enjoyed it because I also grew up reading comic books. But beyond that, this is what stood out to me. This is why I put it on the list, which is something that's interesting.
Mhm.
If you watch the original series from 1992, if you know anything about the X-Men series, and the X-Men are mutants fighting to save a world that hates them. And when the mutants first were invented or conceptualized by Stan Lee was during the civil rights struggle.
Mm.
And basically mutants were coded black. Mutants were discriminated against. Mutants were considered to be genetically unpure, unclean. They were considered to be a threat to pure humanity. And if you look at the villains, some of the villain non-super, like the human organizations like Friends of Humanity were coded after the Ku Klux Klan and the White Citizens Council, saying we have these people who are among us. They appear to be human, but ultimately they're not truly human and they are a threat to human. So if you know anything about the X-Men from before, they are racially coded. And they are played as a racial minority group. And the villain Magneto, the reason that he's so quote unquote villainous is because both of his parents died in the World War II German Holocaust. And
They were on what side?
huh?
They was fighting on the Soviet side, or they fighting on the?
No, they were German Jews.
Oh, okay.
And so Magneto was like, we have to go to war because humanity wants to do to mutants what Hitler did to the Jews. And if you know, and he saw that. So it was that racial purity and racism was how X-Men were coded. But if you look at the new X-Men 97, it goes from the mutants being coded as black or racial minorities to the mutants being coded as queer or LGBTQ.
Wow.
And it's even a mutant who was in the closet. And there was this issue about him being outed and being pressured to come out to his mother and to reveal the fact that he's a mutant to his mother. So I'd be sitting there.
So you're gonna get ready to attack the agenda because that's what's gonna come next. They say that's the evidence of the gay agenda.
I'm a victim of the gay agenda. I did a whole video on it. So my analysis is assessment and conclusions about the so-called gay agenda are probably against most people who get out here to rail and protect us from the gay agenda. Because I've kind of switched sides. But anyway, I just thought that was interesting how, and I would sit and watch it with my son. I'm like, man, this is weird because I didn't know this until I watched it. And I just finished watching it last weekend. And I'm like, wow, black folks, since we's free, since we's got our rights, since we's integrated now, since we's was in the White House, since we's was in power for 8 years, there hasn't been an openly gay president. Then I wonder how many other people were able to observe that the X-Men, just in the animated series, I'm not speaking about any of the other medias. I'm not talking about the comic books, the video games, or any other animated series, because Wolverine and the X-Men might play it different. But X-Men 97, the continuation of X-Men from 1992, they went from coding mutants as black to quoting mutants as queer or LGBTQ.
So I saw they said that they, as I was showing up there, like Storm, a lot of the cast members are still the same. So Storm is the same voice from the Caribbean lady. But are you saying that they addressing social issues? Because when I was reading about it, they said like they are um uh a little or neatly little or literally addressing social issues, and that's the social issues that they're addressing, like
No,
LGBTQAI, or did
no,
you
they're
feel like
not
they have
addressing.
other
They're addressing broad human tendencies like prejudice, discrimination,
mm-hmm.
isolation, the conflict of nonviolent resistance versus violent upheaval, and issues of revenge, retaliation. So they're dressing. So saying that they're coded, they don't. They do have. I think there were some queer characters that weren't there before, but beyond that, um, there it's no. I'm not saying they're pushing a message or communicating a message. It's just how the mutants are coded.
Mm-hmm. And this, they said that it's not for young people. You feel like young people can't watch this? It's like
I
an
watched it with
cartoon
my
film.
son, but yeah, I think young
But
people
your
could watch
son
it.
ain't young
But I'm
no
not a good
more.
barometer. Don't raise your
Your
kids like
son
I
ain't
am.
young though.
Huh?
None of your sons are young at this point.
What do you mean by young then?
Like early teens.
Uh,
Like your son is your youngest son is middle high school right now.
16.
Oh yeah, he.
I didn't see anything there that I don't think that younger children couldn't watch. 7, 8, 9 year olds. But then again,
But you watched the whole thing though, because if you ain't watched the whole thing, we could. Well, I mean, I don't think it's. I ain't never really watched. I don't think I watched the first one. I probably saw it in passing.
well, what's unique about that is in the dominant society, in the corporate media society, um, there's this thing called atrocity hopping.
Mhm.
That the dominant system will acknowledge an injustice, but they never acknowledge the overall injustice. They kind of pigeonhole. So a
Mhm.
particular plight. And they forget about all the other injustices, and this is the injustice of the hour. So when the mass media is dealing with police brutality, that's the problem right now, and that's the cause du jour. That is the latest atrocity.
Mhm.
But then let's say we move on to some international, like about a decade ago, the Darfur regions was in the headlines, and every celebrity was showing up with the red carpet with a Darfur T-shirt on.
Mhm.
And then now, even though the atrocities, the famine, the displacement is still going on and intensify, nobody talks about Darfur. I don't know if you know, a few years ago, everybody was talking about trafficking. Fine, bring our girls home. Trafficking
Yeah.
of young people, trafficking of young people, woo, woo, woo. And then it fades from the mainstream. So when they coded, like somebody said, well, maybe they're black and queer. The corporate profit oriented system cannot afford to have you to have, they need to keep us all in a huddle. They define us as groups, demographics for the purposes of marketing and extracting our labor and extracting our wealth. So they want to kind of make sure we don't go for in too many directions. So in terms of the message of the X-Men is to love your enemy, and there's always a peaceful solution. Ultimately, Magneto, even though Magneto is like they try to exterminate us, so the proper response to extermination is extermination, and all the other mutants attack him, and he's ultimate ultimately proven wrong, and he's ultimately sees the error of his ways. Like, these people trying to kill me, but I'm just as bad as them if I kill them back. So, but anyway,
So they obviously didn't cover no like because again I think when you have those light touch they don't touch on anything like worker power or um stuff like that, or I don't even think they would probably even go and tap into the real world or like have some type of Trump message or anti-Trump message.
in X-Men,
yeah,
I
like
don't think so. I didn't see that there. Not like did you see The Boys? Oh, well, the Boys was very obviously playing off of the rise of the MAGA movement and Trump. But this particular, no, there was no like. In fact, the president was a liberal.
oh,
President Kelly was actually wanted to have peaceful coexistence with the mutants. And even when he attacked the mutants and used their like doomsday weapon against the mutants, he was very reluctant to do so. So, but there was and in fact, yeah, that was the series as it ended. So no, they didn't play that. So the US government was actually liberal as opposed to fascist or jingoistic in the latest conclusion of the series.
so where's the series at? It's not on Amazon
Well,
Prime, is it?
it's on Disney. Disney owns Marvel.
So I think I want to go to the Amazon Prime thing because I've been looking at some of the worker issues in the warehouse, Amazon Prime, and then so this newest thing that you sent in terms of
Yeah, that's the
that happened in Chicago.
Yeah, well, the lawsuit happened in Chicago, but as you read deeper into the story, you find that it's all over. So the formal lawsuit, the initial lawsuits, because there's always a deluge. The initial lawsuit came out of the south side of Chicago, even further south than because I live on the south side, but my area is being aggressively gentrified. So, but there's other areas a little further south than me, probably 2 to 3 miles south of here. There's a sister that lives. It's was a story in the in the local news here. It's kind of a big story, but I don't think they've named. I didn't see anything that said her name. They said where she lived in her residence. She actually brought suit, and she met with like the local city council and stuff. But all that to say, they're finding that Amazon, even though Black people are paying the same amount for Prime delivery, now there's a lot of issues here. This is a mess.
Yeah.
It says right there, secretly stopped fast deliveries to predominantly Black zip codes
without obviously refunding their money. But so here's what I thought.
You get a refund if Amazon's too slow?
I thought you should.
Well,
if you pay for service, you don't get the service.
You know what's really fucked up about that?
What's that?
At least in Chicago, those large Amazon distribution centers, which are sources of huge amounts of pollution, because they got those diesel trucks. So an Amazon distribution center is basically a truck depot, a diesel truck depot, right? 24 hours a day, you've got these huge trucks with exhaust coming in and out. And I remember when I worked in a hospital in Queens, and this one area in the Bronx had higher rates of asthma death than the rest of the world combined for young Black youth. And it was because they did the research and found it's because that's where these children who lived in the area where the New York City's buses were stored.
Right.
So all day there would be these diesel powered buses coming and going. So anyway, they put the distribution centers in the hood. The huge multi-acre distribution centers My mother-in-law lives about 2.5. She lives in a predominantly black community in the south suburbs. They put a huge depot, and the black people are literally celebrating. Amazon is coming to town. Jobs. Well,
Yeah,
that's
because jobs. That's not. But that's normally what it is. Like obviously the ecological bullshit that corporations bring, the most taxing one to the environment, they always
yes.
put in
So
our community. But so what I was thinking though, so I read Litigators by John Grisham a long time ago, and I remember how it talk about how the drug companies will make so much profit and set aside some of the profit that they pay the people off that get hurt by the drugs, and they
right.
whatever. So as I'm thinking about that, I want to know how much profit that they made, and then how much they're gonna settle in or out of court for. So when I was looking at some of the data originally, customers pay about around $139 per year, or $14.99 a month for fast deliveries. Amazon made 40 billion in 2023 from Amazon Prime membership and other subscriptions. 180 million Amazon Prime users are the number in 2024, and that equals like $25 billion from the US. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if there's a way to be like, okay, they made this amount of money from these people that they withheld the services from, but also got paid. Like that number will be important to get, because let's say, for instance, if that number is 100 million or a billion, and they settle out of court for 2 million apiece, like they could just keep doing that shit, and it's nothing that's gonna really happen.
That's true, but I kind of take a different approach to that. I think the numbers are right. Black people are paying for a service that they're being denied,
Mhm.
and um, the bottom line is we're in the process of leaving a bank we've been with since we've been here in Chicago. Since we moved here to Chicago, we've been with the same little local bank, and there's been at least 3 investigations against this bank against discriminatory practices,
Mhm.
from mortgage loan discrimination to penalties, harsher uh, scrutiny and penalties against black. I mean, every time there's any type of investigation of racism, white folks are always doing racism.
The internal affairs.
They are a predatory, psychopathic group of people in their relationship to black, a race of psychopaths. Bobby Wright said, in their relationships with African people, white people have behaved like a race, not individuals, not bad actors, not bad apples, but as a collective, psychopaths. And I know the numbers are important. I respect the numbers, but I have to say something about black people. Sometimes racism has us fighting for shit we shouldn't want no part of. It's
Say
kind of
more.
like black people fought to get into the military.
I hear that, but because Prime is very similar, well, no, I don't know. I guess it's buying stuff, but the service Prime is very similar to having moments to play video games and watch movies. That's what they're
How
paying
so?
for.
How so?
Because you said like you want to take breaks and escape from the real world, and that's what
But
people know play. That's what they pay for their Prime. I think Prime isn't because the Prime.
how does paying for Prime provide any entertainment or escape?
Because I thought Prime is also the movie things. You get the movies and a shipment.
No, when they talk about Prime, they're not talking about the streaming service. I don't know if there's any. No,
You sure?
the suit is when you're an Amazon Prime member, you pay a subscription fee in order to have fast and free delivery. That's what the suit is about. The suit is not about the streaming service. The suit is about black people in black zip codes, redlining. It's modern day digital redlining. If you live in a black community, let's say you live on the south side of Chicago or you live in the Gold Coast, and both of these residences have Prime memberships, and they order the exact same product at the exact same time, and Prime guarantees same day or next day delivery. It is found that when Amazon Prime has some type of deficit and is not able to meet this area, they prioritize white affluent neighborhoods over black and poor neighborhoods 100% of the time. Therefore, the black community is paying for a service and being denied that service based on race, which is illegal up until, well, it used to be illegal. I'm sure the Supreme Court is going to shoot that down. But or Prime comes free 2-day shipping. So the problem is it's not the other products and services of Prime.
I think it is. It says Amazon Prime offers free and fast delivery. Buy with Prime the little shopping stuff from Whole Foods, because aren't they like connected to Whole Foods or something like that, or something?
They own Whole Foods.
Yeah. Wait. Oh yeah, I guess. Unlimited grocery, Prime reading, ultimate photo storage. Wait.
Okay. And I know you want to take a shot at me. You got to take better aim. This is not connected to video games.
Is it not? It says Amazon offers music and video.
You're going over what they offer. I'm talking about what they've done, what crime they've committed.
Oh no, I get it. But in terms of like the black folks who are trying to have the service, they're buying a product or they're engaged in some type of commerce of something that allows them to, I don't know, spend their money on something that brings them some type of entertainment or joy or whatever, right?
Right.
So that's what I'm saying.
Well, I don't know. I think you're trying to make this connection. It's not really necessary, but no. And when I said black people are fighting for something they really shouldn't even want, that shouldn't exist, they got racism motivates us to strive for things we should want no part of. I didn't really get to elaborate.
Oh yeah, I don't know, because I think to be honest with you, I don't know, because I don't got Prime and I don't got none of them damn streaming sites. I be pirating other people's shit. So I thought it was all connected, because I remember logging into it.
We're only dealing with this lawsuit and this investigation that proved the merits of the lawsuit. Only deal with people who have Prime membership that guarantees them speedy deliveries.
Right.
And Prime does not discriminates based on race who to honor those speedy deliveries, especially in times of high volume, like the Christmas time and other times of high volume deliveries. There's a culture within Amazon Prime that says prioritize white communities over black communities. Yeah. There was a big lawsuit here in Chicago before I moved here, that back before global warming in Chicago used to have these major snowstorms. And the Mayor Daley and his administration prioritized cleaning the streets and salting the streets in white and affluent neighborhoods over black neighborhoods. And there were demographers, there were civil engineers that came to study to say, wait a minute, are the streets in Chicago, are the streets in white communities cleaned and salted, prioritized above and beyond, or in the poor and black communities left with snow-filled streets? And they found out, they're like, this is absolutely true. Mm-hmm. Beyond a statistical anomaly. This isn't just black paranoia.
Right.
This is a fact that the city of Chicago discriminates on snow removals. It's the same type of approach. We have to keep our white customers happy, and our black customers who pay the same price for the same service will not receive it, strictly based on where they live. And I'm not saying they don't do it because we're black. They do it because they're white. Now, as far as if you are black and you go and get Amazon Prime streaming service, I don't know if you get the streaming service gives you more options to
yes, it does,
or better service for white people than black.
Well, I guess in terms of internet, maybe you have to figure it out. But so in that little argument, they're claiming that Amazon has the right to not send their workers into dangerous neighborhoods, and that's what they was doing. They was concerned about driver safety, and that's why.
That's their defense.
But if that is true, then they also should give them people their damn money back. that was paying for a service that they're not
Right,
getting.
but they didn't
But
even make that announcement. Right, they didn't tell, but they say that every time. But
Mhm.
then here's the thing about that. The crime statistics and violence, because it's across the nation. I thought the lawsuit started on the south side of Chicago. I know that was the first lawsuit, but I saw articles from DC, throughout California.
I thought the
And so
lawsuit
all of
went.
these black communities would have to have the exact same crime statistics for them to even. But on top of that, you're not allowed to discriminate against someone. And I see, I live on the south side of Chicago. I see them prime vans everywhere all the fucking time. So Amazon totally does deliver to O Block. If you paying, they gonna take your money. So the problem isn't saying that they don't deliver to these communities. They're saying that they don't deliver in prompt time, and they prioritize delivering to white people over black people. They're not saying that, oh, they don't deliver at all. That's not what the case is saying. So they can't say, well, we don't deliver to high crime area. Yes, you do. You just don't give equitable service. You collect people's money and then fail to give them equitable service based on where they live and the color of their skin.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't Loretta Lynch trying to get some stuff popping at Amazon before because there was
There's several
it was doing some dirt
strikes.
with the employees.
There's several labor disputes. Several people that go into try to get workman's comp cases, and they give them the rigmarole. Amazon is a monstrous and highly discriminatory institution.
Yeah. Fuck Amazon.
You can say that, but it's a monopoly at this point.
I mean, it is, but still.
Yeah,
So yeah,
but how? How do I go about? How do I engage in intercourse with Amazon? How?
I mean, I think in terms of obviously
Amazon,
like the worker.
but
Man,
there's a part of this I don't think we're acknowledging.
Mhm.
This same day, next day, 2-day delivery shit is highly disruptive and dysfunctional to the ecosystem and local economies. So I think the same day, next day delivery model of Amazon shouldn't exist. It should not exist. So when it's like when the U.S. military is highly discriminatory, and when they argue, when black people say, "Well, I've been in the military, I fulfilled all the roles, I've passed all the exams and the requirements to get promoted in the military," and they won't promote me. So do we go out and protest so that this man could be a general, lieutenant general, and engage in and raise up in the ranks of the U.S. empire? So we got a company that is toxic, discriminatory, and disruptive to local economies.
But they got 1.6 million jobs though.
Businesses that exploits its distributors. So we want this mega multinational horrible corporation, this monopoly, not for it to cease to exist, not for it to be broken up, not for it to end the polluting, because you see the little Rivian electric trucks going up and down the block. Oh, look, they got electric vans for Amazon. And you ignore all those diesel powered trucks coming through the hood to drop it off at the distribution center, because they only go, and you ignore the fact that they use UPS and all these other companies as contractors to deliver their shit
to the black folks.
So Amazon is orienting the economy to say, hey, instead of people going out and buying their goods and everybody order things and it shows up at your door in 2 days, and forget about the environmental costs, forget about the local economic, local infrastructure, local tax infrastructure costs, so that this white man can build rockets to Mars. So my problem with these type of movements are, we're fighting for justice within a very system that we shouldn't be in. And I understand it. But I mean, how long are we going to do this? I mean, if chattel slavery was the standard of the day, are we going to fight because black plantation owners don't get their whips delivered in time as effectively as the white plantation owners do? Or the white plantation owners are getting better deals on their cotton than the black plantation owners?
I mean, you think we're gonna skip the step of a worker struggle? Like you want to just skip over that part?
Here's the thing about a worker struggle or any struggle. You're talking about who's struggling, but not what they're struggling for.
Well,
So
no.
I support the worker struggle. I've been a part of the worker struggle. I've been a former member of the union. I identify and support worker struggle. But sometimes workers, like all other integrationists, struggle for the wrong shit. And even when they win, they lose. So if you're fighting, you're saying, well, the struggle, look at the fight for 15. There are several cities that have passed the ordinance, 15 minimum wage. Illinois has that.
Yeah, I remember Baltimore had it.
And so has that reduced poverty?
Of course not.
Has that reduced homelessness? So instead of fighting, a better fight than fighting for higher hourly income. And the same people that fight for hourly income, there are dozens of other working class issues that were put on hold. And so all I'm saying is the day 15 came was the day right after the fight for 15 celebration. The fight for 15 headlines were replaced by what? Inflation headlines.
Yeah,
So
but
we're saying, well, workers, well, we want, what do workers want? What are workers fighting for? So I can't say, well, I support the worker struggle because number one, unions in America are racist as fuck. Unions in America have had a long history of racial discrimination and racist abuses. And I'm not just talking about the white unions, but like the farm workers unions. I was just talking about how the farm workers union, which was predominantly Hispanic, Latino, or whatever made up term y'all like to use for Latin Americans.
But I think is that the problem of the workers the tactics that workers use?
No, it's not a problem of the tactics. It's the problem of the ideology.
Yeah, but again, you don't get from disorganized, weak ass union to organized union fighting for the right things. Like that, you don't just go from there to there.
No, but how do you get there? The problem is not the tactics. The problem is the ideology.
Yeah, that's
unions are
the ideological struggle.
Right. So if you're not a socialist, communist, revolutionary, anti-imperialist union, because all unions have managed to do, because the original labor union was organizing labor to take the means of production.
Mm-hmm.
And when the powers that be saw that the union movement, the anarcho-syndicalist movement, the communist movement was gaining ground, they said, listen, let's give them concessions. Let's give them workplace protection. Let's give them job protection. Let's give them bargaining power, and let's give them a bump in wages. They didn't give that to workers to help workers. They did that to legitimize and preserve the system of capitalism.
Of course. And that's also something that as I was thinking, so the time living in Central America and studying and experiencing and going to Cuba, being in Nicaragua, especially in particular Costa Rica, those workers, like this concept again, the concept of like buying power and how miseducated the workers and the consumers are compared to the US, compared to Central America, is drastically different. For instance, when you look at Batista and even Somoza, like everybody hated them dudes. Like, I mean, and even after the revolution, which was supported by the people, there still had to be this massive political education that came in the form of like policy. Like people started to lean more towards socialism because the Revolutionary Party took over the state apparatus and started to do reforms that helped the working people. So like, I just think the conundrum that the U.S. population is in, it's like, I mean, I always think about E. Franklin Feder's world of make believe. Like, I don't, I think we advanced past the world of make believe, and so the question is, what tactics would you need to use to engage in politically educating people, or cementing a more logical and a humane or whatever ideology? And I'm just saying that that's a lot of work, and I don't even know that we can't even figure out our internal groups and organizations to even put forth ideology together. I mean, we talked about it, I think it was last week, but when we asked about what organization will lead the transformation, and I'm like, hell, who has the ideology, and how do they communicate it to people who can't even define capitalism in front of you in any logical way, other than saying that, oh, that's just getting money.
Well, the tactic I would use, number one, I would drive home the understanding that it's quality over quantity. Your success is not defined by numbers. Your success is defined by how clear your objectives are, how grounded your ideology is, and how well you organize and sustain the people who have embraced the ideology and the mission. So it is not about how many people you have on board or how long your organization has been around. That's number one. Number two, the tactics for radicalizing, waking up, educating people, it has to be multifaceted. There has to be a strong aesthetic component to revolution. And the aesthetic component of revolution is the dress, the music, the dance, the frivolity, the symbols, the holidays, the icons. I think that needs to be curated and protected viciously, aggressively. We should not allow charlatans to so comfortably claim the legacy of Pan Africanists or to claim themselves to be connected to or carrying forward from whether it's Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, Frederick Douglass. That's number one. Number two, on the organizational side, there are plenty of resources. I think we need maximum utilization and coordination of resources. And I think we spend a lot of time as revolutionaries engaged in ideologically, oh, I guess, man, what do I say? We do a lot of demos, acting, and a demonstration, activism, and protest, as opposed to building up the revolutionary material infrastructure. And the
Material,
problem,
ideological infrastructure. You say
yeah,
material.
and the problem with that is we spend a lot of time. I've spent most of my time. We try to make revolution without revolutionaries. And now many of us even deem or conclude that, hey, you can make revolution. You don't need revolutionaries. You just need people committed. You just need people ready to do the work. You just need people on deck.
But again, I think that those people are painfully thinking that they're in Cuba, where they actually didn't need revolutionaries to do that. But, and when I mean they don't need the critical mass, they
I
needed people.
The first thing I said is it's quality over quantity.
But
That's the first thing I said. It's not about having large numbers. It's quality over quantity. You don't need a large number. I mean, Mao started his revolution with 25 people.
no,
Then
but no, I thought you just
and,
it sounded like you was just arguing against people who say you don't need revolutionaries, and you be like, you do need
I just
revolutionaries.
said the problem is we try to make revolution without revolutionaries. We've deprioritized the cultivation of revolutionaries. We think we can make revolution without revolutionaries.
Yeah, I don't know if I understand that. I guess what I thought you were saying was we don't have the work laid out in terms of creating revolutionaries so that the revolution could take over, and people think that we could just do it with our, there's 10 of us and we all revolutionaries, we in this org and we can do it. And what I'm saying is,
That's not what I said at all.
I didn't understand when you were saying like you think people think that you can do it without revolutionaries, and Are those people considered revolutionaries themselves?
When I say we try to make revolution without revolutionaries, is a revolution is an intellectual endeavor. A
Mm-hmm.
revolution is not defined by their willingness to work in the community, to feed people. Mother Teresa worked in a community and fed people. That heifer wasn't no goddamn revolutionary.
Sure.
Their willingness to take up arms. Gangsters take up arms
Yeah.
and prey upon our community. So what distinguishes? So a lot of things that revolutionaries do. I mean, my uncle's church, which was a reactionary church that preyed on the community, gave away turkeys and meals and opened up to feed and did all that shit, but it was not a revolutionary church. And
Of
the
course not.
more you adhere to what was being taught in that church, the more loyalty and more patriotic you would be.
Right.
So a lot of things we think, getting out here and let's just do the work. You know, I ran a community garden. I was a revolutionary. I ran a community garden. But just up the block, there were several other gardens that were bigger, run by
So
the
so
Pritzker Foundation
so
and
you
other.
you saying the people are saying that they think just doing those actions, ontologically those actions, this is what's going to bring about revolution, and they're not
Yeah,
doing mutual aid, or they're not doing
right.
any real
And the
politicizing
fact
of the
that
people that can help.
they eschew internal conflict. We're not going to diss these people. We're not going to talk about this person. We're just going to do something positive. The first thing, revolution is an intellectual endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
So what defines a revolutionary and what defines an act as revolutionary versus an act just being progressive or positive or liberal or conservative?
Be the
Because
ideology.
you'll find that people across the board do all kind of shit.
Yeah.
Timothy McVeigh attacked the government. You know,
Yeah.
he was a Nazi. And so when you see the
Boy
Black
just shot the
Liberation Army
CEO.
takes action against the government,
Mm-hmm.
taking action against the government alone does not make you a revolutionary. So the revolutionary ideology, the worldview, social theories, concepts, priorities, that's what makes you a revolutionary. And you'll find that when you're on here having discourse, debate, arguments, and discussions about revolutionary, the first thing people want to come and do is say, what work are you doing? You got to do the work. Because we have deprioritized revolution. We just want to, there used to be when I was in the church, they was like, get busy because Jesus is look busy. Jesus is watching, so look busy or something like that.
Wouldn't, not that they're suggesting this, but wouldn't the work be in some capacity creating revolutionaries, politicizing the people, right?
Yes, and we don't like that work because creating revolutionaries, for every revolutionary you create, you're going to create a dozen hostile entities, a dozen enemies, not necessarily actively attacking you, but you're going to be hurting people's feelings and offending people's sentiments. Because in order to cultivate a revolutionary, you got to tell them the truth. You got to tell them the facts, and you have to be radical.
You know,
and radical means that you have to break things down to their fundamental core. And then you have to have very low tolerance. And when you really start to develop revolutionary ideology that feeds a revolutionary intellect, that then
when you say low tolerance for who though? For the people you're trying to politicize?
Huh?
You said you have to have low tolerance. Low tolerance for who?
I didn't say you have to have low tolerance. I said that tolerance, you can that your tolerance level, you don't have to have low tolerance. Okay. But that can be one of the characteristics. Mm. You know, when you go from being a reactionary to a revolutionary, that's what happened to Malcolm X. Malcolm X went from being a reactionary cult member to a revolutionary Pan-Africanist, and you saw how it played out for him. I mean, and we don't even acknowledge that to this day.
But I think all of us go from reactionary to revolutionary.
All of us?
All of us go from reactionary to, nobody's born revolutionary that I know of. Maybe you know some people, but all of us go from reactionary to revolutionary. But I think the container that we're in is the issue. So his container that he was in was more the issue. Because I don't know, maybe you know something else.
What can you name the container?
The NOI.
The cult.
Sure, if you want to, whatever you want to call it. There's the NOI was a container. The organization that, as you say, is a cult. That was a container that he went.
That I say is a cult.
Yeah, you just said it was a cult. Did you not just say it was a cult?
Do you have to give that mark? Is it a cult?
If you call it a cult, it's a cult. That's
What do
not
you
the
call it?
conversation. The conversation is the
What do you
container.
call it? I'll use your term for it, as
No,
so that we can.
that's a waste of time. That's a waste of time. What I'm saying is everybody go from reactionary to revolutionary at some kind of point. All revolutionaries once was reactionary, right?
That's a good question.
Because I don't know any revolutionary that I ever studied that never was reactionary. Even Fidel, who actually was politicized very young, had reactionary times.
Okay.
So,
All right.
so the container, the organization that you're in, be it cult, be it good, revolutionary, be it liberal, be it cultural nationals, whatever, that's gonna influence a lot more. So if Malcolm X was in, I don't even know, I can't even say SNCC or something. I mean, I don't know. But if
there
he
were
was
several people in SNCC, like
we about to get to one of them.
Brown, Jamil.
We about to get to one of them.
Al-Amin. He went
And
from
that container wasn't healthy either. I wouldn't say it. Like them niggas are still running around talking about their students.
It didn't harass, hound, and
Because it's not that. I mean, that container wasn't a black reactionary nationalist organization. That was more so of some other white influence. So like, because even as Amos said, like if you want to be like a white man, be like Farrakhan and Elijah Muhammad. They went and go build a whole black nation pattern off of white boys. No, they didn't.
No, that was never the objective. The nation is like the building. You ever been a member of a church?
Yes.
Like going, where you go Sunday worship service, Sunday night Bible study, Monday.
Yeah, I've been a member of a church.
And did that church have a building fund?
Huh?
Did that church have a building fund?
I mean, not all the churches that I went to had a building fund.
I'm asking the one you're thinking of, the one that's most prominent in your memory.
The one that most prominent in my memory was the last one
that actually had a building
fund. Okay, yeah. So the one that
church had a building fund, right?
The
one that had a building fund, correct?
I mean, I think so. I'm not
trying to trick you or set you up. Speak.
Well, I'm answering the question. If you let me, I said I think. I don't know. I don't know. Like for instance,
have you been a member of a church that had a building fund?
Let me finish. The Garden of Prayer, right? When I was little, or even I forgot the Baptist church that I went to. I don't know if they had a building. I would assume they had. I don't know.
All right, so let me speak from my experience because
you're even better.
Too wonderful. You haven't had the horrible experiences, so let me speak about my life. I was a member of Covenant Memorial Baptist Church. It was started by a charlatan, like most religious bodies, starting with Jesus, the biggest charlatan in history. And it was started by a charlatan. And it was a storefront church. And it was sandwiched in between two other buildings, and it was rented. And as the church grew, a building fund started. So he would take up normal collections of your 10% of your pre-tax income. After he takes up 10% of your pre-tax income, he would ask for additional donations for the charitable, for the food drive, and for the building fund. And eventually he had an architect come in and make these beautiful drawings, these elaborate drawings of what the church will look like when it gets built. And right in the entryway, you couldn't see it coming in, but whenever you leave this little storefront church, with the movable, stackable chairs, you would see this beautiful exterior, interior architectural drawings of this beautiful church that we were one day going to have.
That's when you was reactionary.
No, I wasn't reactionary.
You was revolutionary then?
I wasn't a revolutionary. You think everybody's either reactionary or revolutionary?
What were you? Conservative? What were you then? What would you call yourself then?
I mean, I was 11, 12.
Okay.
What would you call the average 11, 12-year-old?
Then you grow up into an adult. And then when did you become revolutionary?
Can I finish this building fund story first?
Get your building fund. We're going to take time off after this. And by the way, y'all donate the Diallo's building fund.
And so
send that in.
I'll shorten it up. I'll tighten it up. But The bottom line, the moral of the story is this pastor grew old, developed pancreatic cancer, and went and got all the treatment he could get for this cancer. For some reason, he was in no rush to go to heaven, and he died. And guess where the church and the congregation that had given these poor black people living in a poor black community in a racist little town called Kansas City, guess where the church was when he died? In that same storefront building, under them same old dusty ass drawings. The building never came. The building was never built. So when a religious organization, a religious cult tell you they're building a nation, it's just a level up from the building fund. Eventually the church did move, but they never built that building. They just moved and bought out another church and moved into another church.
So what that got to do with NOI not using white boy value systems and doing it on their own?
What I'm saying is ain't no nation coming.
Dude,
I'll
that's
tell you,
fine.
if you go join the nation, keep your Social Security, keep paying into Social Security, keep your citizenship, keep your U.S. passport, because ain't no nation coming. That's like the building fund. The nation fund is no different than the building fund. If you're nation building with a organization
Well,
or church, it's just a level up.
what they said, whether they build it or not, whether they're going to build it or not, their intentions to build it was juxtaposed to the white nation that was built. So that was more of Amos' thing. But what I'm saying is that being in that environment, your reactionary behaviors, that thing encourage reactionary. But you as a person who is matriculating through that thing, have a critical eye, you whatever, he was able to become radicalized in whatever capacity he has been. But again, in such an organization as,
but I don't think I did have some reactionary positions or some conservative positions that were more of a byproduct of my religious indoctrination more so than my political views.
aren't we all though?
I say I went from a liberal to a leftist, as opposed from going from reactionary to revolutionary.
You never had your pro-black era before you became revolutionary?
Yeah, but it was.
And you don't think pro-black is reactionary?
I don't think that pro-black is reactionary. I think that pro-black is inadequate.
Okay, reactionaries are inadequate too, though, right? All of them.
So reactionaries are literally status quo. These are people who fight against any type of institutional change and institutional challenge. They might even acknowledge that there are injustices, but they fight against. So a reactionary is a person who aggressively fights against any type of liberal or leftist turn.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know no pro-black person who don't fit in that category.
I know a lot of black people who are very liberal in their point of view that I wouldn't call reactionary. I know a lot of apolitical black people who take no strong political stances, and I wouldn't call them reactionary. I would call Candace Owens a reactionary. I would call Kanye West a reactionary. But I would even call Dr. Fubar, but even though he seems to be softening in many of his reactionary positions, but I don't think it's a sincere change of heart. I think he just wants to increase his marketability. So many of his controversial stances he softened on. Tariq Nasheed is a good example of a black reactionary or anti-black reactionary even. So, most black people, I don't think they have such strong, and most black people have just, I know a lot of like socially conservative, economically liberal people.
Well, I know somebody who ain't none of that. Let's go to Imam. Well, I don't know how you feel about calling him that, but Jamil Al-Amin.
If you don't know me by now, Geechee.
Hey man, you put him on a run sheet. I don't know what the plan is for him other than talking about his conditions.
Of course.
As an 80-year-old man who.
But why would I have a problem calling an imam an imam?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't say you have a problem. I just I don't know what you would call him.
Well, it's urgent. I think everyone should let this be known. He has multiple melanoma and a large tumor growing on his face, and they're asking for compassionate. I think they call it compassionate release.
Release.
When an inmate is terminal, then they release them for medical. The same thing they were trying to secure for Mumia. You know, and they also saying he's getting death by medical neglect. And I worked for 3 years in a prison infirmary, and I have to say that prison infirmary is nowhere to have any type of chronic or terminal disease. So there's a number here. I'll read it out loud for people who are listening but not watching. It's 520-663-5000. And then you press 0 to bypass the movement. And the inmate name is Jamil Al-Amin. And his inmate number is 999-74555, so that you can speak for your support for his compassionate parole or compassionate relief. He's in the state penitentiary of Tucson. And he's being currently moved to the Federal Medical Center at the. They want him moved to the medical center from the penitentiary for medical treatment. So that's something I just would like to give voice to and promotion to. And if someone is an imam, pastor, preacher, I have no issue with people's titles or how people identify.
So there's a I was looking at his the docuseries that they're trying to put out, and they're trying to raise funds for it, and it pretty much talked about the case and how he's 80. I thought he was going on 80, but maybe
he's 81.
Yeah, but accused of that killing decades ago, where even the actual killer has already been, like, he already came forward and whatever. But this is the I think this is it. Yeah.
A man who pulled up in a Mercedes opened fire, killing Deputy Ricky Kinchin.
Convicted of murdering a Fulton County deputy, Jamil Al-Amin.
A militant and civil rights leader, H. Rapper Brown.
H. Rapper Brown emailed Jamil Al-Amin.
You're either free or you're a slave. There's no such thing as second-class citizenship. Violence is a part of America's culture. It is as American as cherry pie. Fight the power!
The FBI had a 44,000-page file on him and his community.
The Constitution is the very document that enslaves African Americans.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty.
I've been incarcerated for a crime that I not committed.
Convicted cop killer fighting for his freedom.
Brother Jamil Al-Amin, we support him.
Maybe we should look at this again at trial.
Jamil Al-Amin did not shoot any police officers.
You weren't arrested for it, were you?
No, sir, I was not.
In fact, another person was tried and convicted.
Jamil Al-Amin, yes, sir.
The confession has never been mentioned in a single trial of Al-Amin.
We're here calling for the freedom and the exoneration of Jamil Al-Amin.
This is man's life, this is freedom.
No such thing as justice in this country for black people.
Don't you ever forget his name.
We will be free by any means necessary.
So I wonder if there's a feeling in terms of getting the story out. There's already been out, but obviously they're trying to raise funds for that. And I don't know if there's another campaign of raising funds for what, or it's just for us to engage in petition and whoever for compassionate release.
As far as the federal penitentiary system, you can't really raise funds for that can go to the medical treatment. Ironically, the only place in the United States, or the only people within the United States that are guaranteed full health coverage, are inmates.
Mhm.
You know, I remember there was a story years ago about a man who was diagnosed with cancer, and he went to rob a bank, and he had a note and told the teller that I'm here to rob the bank, and I just want $1. And so the teller gave him $1, and he walked out to the front of the bank to wait to be arrested, because he knew that if he was convicted of a federal crime and incarcerated, then he would get free treatment for his cancer.
If he's not if he's not political, obviously.
Well,
he's isolated.
Well, yeah, it again, and it also depends on where you are. Different regions in different places. I have, good friends who have been incarcerated, and they said that the federal system is better with healthcare, dental care than the state system.
Mm-hmm.
The state is probably the absolute worst place. But they said that. But again, I worked in a city jail, and it was horrendous. It was horrendous. Like, if I had worked with the same equipment under the same conditions in a civilian hospital, I would every practitioner in there would lose their license, their certification, or whatever. On a daily basis. Patient protection were violated. It was crazy. Not to mention that prison hospitals and prison medical facilities are also laboratories where they are allowed to experiment on these incarcerated people. And there's over 2 million people incarcerated in this country, which is a number I can't even conceptualize. I can't even wrap my mind around. But I think that Imam Jamil is worthy of our support, and whatever we can do as individual or as a community, we should do.
That's Fulton County. So in the last 15 minutes, one of them stories the crab thing was weird to me. I really struggle with people talking about finding humane ways to kill animals. I just don't.
I agree as well.
I don't really understand I get tired of that, actually. When humans have been the most violent. So a humane way to kill something is to obliterate it, destroy it.
Yeah, but it's their language. It's their shitty language.
Because humans are shitty. But the coffee thing, I want to get into that too, because I'm curious about your experience with other alternatives.
Let's what do you want to do? You want to go to the crabs, or you want to go to?
Well, what did you have on the crabs? Because I just was like,
well,
and what I was waiting for, I thought I was gonna hear is like, because of the fear and because of the pain it feels, it does something to the body and it lets off some chemical that's harming people too. That's what I thought I was about to hear, but then I was like, but still, I'm not saying that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. One, I don't like the word humane killing, but two, I'm like, I don't know. Did you have something?
Well, scientists have found out there was often, because of crustaceans, they felt that, there was an argument that they don't feel pain. So you can boil lobster and crabs alive. But scientists basically were like, most of the time, the conclusions about whether or not these animals feel pain as we would interpret pain was based off of observation, just people looking at the crab or lobster's behavior or actions or response when subjected to boiling water or other pain responses.
Like, they don't want to die.
But now scientists have done in-depth study on the neurology of crustaceans and found that crustaceans not only can sense pain, they can feel increasing amounts of pain, and they do have the capacity to recognize pain and the capacity to suffer. And so the body of scientists have gotten together to call for a ban on the boiling of crabs and lobster.
You don't see how weak that argument is?
Alive.
That's a weak ass argument for any like.
I don't know.
They
what
feel
is the argument?
I mean, cows feel pain. Pigs. I mean, like, I don't I just don't understand.
I agree. I don't eat any animals. I agree.
I don't understand that.
If you were to tape yourself boiling a cow alive, you can be arrested, fined, and even incarcerated.
Okay.
It is against the law to boil a cow or a chicken alive. If I had a live chicken in a big pot of boiling water and I tape myself sticking that chicken in boiling water
in public.
In
public, of course.
I can be incarcerated. Or if not incarcerated, fined. And I'm pretty sure. So, yes, we agree that slaughtering animals, needlessly slaughtering animals, is wrong. So, are you arguing that until there's a complete ban on the slaughter and consumption of animals, then these incremental policies and calls should be ignored?
Well, what I'm saying is this is a weak ass. If the scientists or somebody should have come better than this. Like, oh, we got to stop doing this because the crabs actually feel pain. Maybe I'm just lost. I don't understand.
That's not a good enough argument for you. Crabs feel pain, therefore we should not boil them alive. That's what would be a strong argument from your point of view.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I thought it was gonna so you know how they say the ecosystem needs crabs to survive for a particular reason? Because it started saying some of that.
But wait a minute. I don't think there's a campaign to exterminate crabs. That would be an argument against exterminating crabs.
I hear that. The need why we should stop eating so much crabs, because crabs is a big industry, right? So what I'm saying is I don't really hear this. Well, they feel pain, so we should stop cooking them, and we should find a humane way.
They didn't say you can't cook crab. They didn't say you can't eat crab.
So how you gonna kill it though? Where it don't feel pain?
Well, I don't eat crabs. I don't eat animals.
You gonna smash it?
But I would suspect what the call is for now is to not boil the animal alive.
And you talk about
I know.
That's the same. Huh? You talk about the labor workers that have wrong tactics. That seemed like a wrong tactic. I don't see that.
Wait, what?
You just a few minutes ago you said how the laborers they're fighting for the wrong shit.
Okay, I'm trying to understand your position.
I'm saying that to me saying that they feel pain and so now we have to stop boiling them. That's just
stop boiling them alive. You cannot put a live crustacean in boiling water.
Right, and then the next person gonna say if you kill them before you cook them, you'll get sick or something.
Then that means if there is a ban on boiling something alive and the only way you can consume it is to boil it alive, that means you've just outlawed its consumption.
Okay. That would be cool.
But I don't understand the problem with
what? A live cat can drown in cold water? What?
So I don't understand. I thought this was a bit of positive, an appropriate and positive call. And this wasn't done by revolutionaries. This was done by scientists.
Oh, maybe I'm not catching the positive call. Maybe I don't see the teeth in the call. I feel like
okay. Allow me to ask you a couple of questions. Hello?
Yeah, I'm waiting.
We're frozen. Are you moving? Because
no, I'm not frozen.
Oh, now you're moving. Let me ask you this: do you support the ban on boiling crabs alive and crustacean and lobsters?
I would support it.
You do support it. Good.
Yeah.
And do you think that such a policy would be an improvement based for society and for our environment, or would it be irrelevant, or do you think it would diminish? Is it a positive thing, an irrelevant thing, or a bad thing?
Well, because they said that they're gonna also engage in finding the technology to kill it more humanely, I sound like a lot of resources gonna be wasted on some bullshit.
Yeah, I don't think there's any such thing as humanely killing something.
That's why I'm going there. That's why I'm
don't.
feeling.
But also, I'm not against harm reduction either. I think that the cattle industry should be banned. I think that all meat industries should be banned. You should not be able to commercially harvest and distribute the living flesh of other animals.
I'm all the way there, but I'm saying like, okay.
But when I do see policies that come through, like when the transport vehicles.
This is what I was going at right here.
What?
Not only enforce it, but how you gonna get people to even? Well, I guess
first of all, let me tell you this. Number one, in commercial spaces, it would be relatively easy to support. I've owned a restaurant. Yes, it would. It absolutely would.
You know how much money these?
Okay, allow me to ask you this: how are any regulations on food enforced?
You said how?
How are any regulations on food consumption production enforced?
I mean, with the state and the
how that's no you
armed
say
agents of the state.
How do they enforce them?
With the armed agents of the state, or fines or something like that. Fines.
That's penalty. That's not enforcement. Listen.
Well, that's.
Let me tell you, as someone who's worked in the food industry on several levels, who's been certified in food production, distribution, preparation in 3 cities. That is an extremely enforceable policy. And let me tell you something else about people that work in the food industry, especially the owners and management. The food industry works on extremely thin margins. If you have a successful restaurant,
okay, yeah,
you're not going to, and there is a universal ban on boiling crustaceans alive, and you got a seafood surf and turf restaurant. Believe you me, there will be no competent, reasonable restaurant owner that will continue that practice and risk the health department or some other regulatory agency running up in your shit, catching you boiling these crustaceans alive and a violation.
Okay.
And if you do, and they do catch you, and they give you fines, they put that little note in your window, and no business owners, I promise you, this would not even be that. I know there would be some restaurants that would fight the policy, argue against it. A lot of sick motherfuckers out there.
And who own Red Lobster?
I can say about the restaurant industry, from my observation, is that they tend not to want to cross the regulatory agencies. So if there were no regulatory or oversight agencies didn't exist, and they tend to be very aggressive against the food industry. You know, so the same way they enforce hot and cold holding, surprise inspections, and let me tell you one more thing about the restaurant industry. It has an extremely high turnover. And oftentimes, those people who leave the industry, they are disgruntled. Wait staff, technical janitorial staff, cooking staff, ex-girlfriends and boyfriends of cooks. So if you're in there boiling animals alive against the law, I promise you,
somebody gonna snitch.
I'm telling you, a lot of times you ain't even got to do shit wrong for them to come tell on you.
Seafood industry is $310 billion industry in 2021. So, I'm thinking more so of like those laws have to get past or win over the controllers of the industry, right? Because they got money to kind of switch around.
I support the ban. I wouldn't dance in the street or create a celebration, but this is not like you said, this is not an activist group. These are scientists who did a study and published their research and drew conclusions about now they're not activists, they're not vegan. I'm sure many of those scientists that work
to be environmentalist scientists. That's what I'm saying. I wanted them to hook up with the environmental science and have some more meat, no pun intended, on the
I don't know. It's just
because ultimately you want to stop the consumption of crabs, right?
That's what I want. That's not what but that's not the role of the scientist.
Well, I'm saying that's the role
Now,
of you celebrating the science.
if you say, listen, we have new information, so we have to make new decisions. But I don't know. I don't know why that.
Because we talking to an anti-science people.
That's why you call for regulations. After the science makes its conclusions, you develop policies and regulations, incentives and penalties based on the policy. I just thought I'd say, let me share this with Geechee. I know he don't like.
I mean, I support it. I just wish it was more.
You called it ass, man. Like, wow.
I ain't say it was ass. I'm just saying ain't got no teeth. Like, hey guys, crabs, they feel pain, so let's stop cooking crabs.
Yeah, that's it.
Like that.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Don't work here.
Huh?
How long you been in the United States, bro?
Huh?
How long you been in the U.S.?
All my life.
Oh, okay.
All my life. In U.S. all my life.
Well, just know that they ain't got no teeth.
Huh?
Like, you know how many, when I talk about, like, I don't never talk about, I haven't become a vegan because I love animals. I just, but when people think that I'm the one who love animals, they start bringing up all these dumb stuff. Plants feel pain too, and all this, and this is like, I don't have time to be talking with people about pain.
You don't care enough about your community to educate your people.
I ain't say that.
You said you ain't got time.
No, I don't got time to be talking about.
I'm surprised that you would go. That I thought this was a good thing when I saw.
I don't say it's bad, Diallo.
I've always been.
I'm just saying I wish it was more. I was like, I'm telling you, every word that I was reading, I was like, I can't wait that they tell me the ecological detriment that's happening.
That's a different. Listen,
I know
if you are a biologist and you are tasked with making an evaluation about the neuro. You study the neurology of crustacean. So that in a person who knows everything about the neurology and the capacity to feel and experience pain of a crustacean, because of the way science works and they pigeonhole, which is why I didn't go into science, even though I have a great appreciation for science, because it pigeonholes you.
Mm-hmm.
They might not know shit. They might not know shit about the ecological impact of diminished crustacean, but that's a whole nother branch. That's a whole different department. So if you know, and I know some scientists, they really know their shit. I know someone that is an expert, the world expert on the psychology of education, group psychology of education. But when they look at the psychology of mass shooters or murders, they're like, I don't know, they're just crazy. They know as much as me. So it's just a good thing, man. I don't know, man. I was feeling good.
Bro, don't let me kill your joy. I think, no, I think the science, well, shit, I can tell you this right now. I ain't no damn scientist, but when the fucking crab jumped out the pot, I know it felt some pain, bro. So I ain't had to do a lot of research to do that shit.
Yes. In fact, that's what they said in the study. They said in the study, most of the conclusions about crabs' capacity to feel and experience pain was based off of observation. That's it. And that wasn't enough to move the industry, which is mostly the culinary industry. That wasn't enough to write a policy based on, whoa, you see that? So science, being as tenuous and tedious as it is, said, well, let's use the instruments and the scientific method to lock down if it can feel pain as we define pain and how that pain impacts the creature.
So let's meet up and wear a flat t-shirt that says crabs feel pain, and let's go do some marching.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
and
serious.
I think it's up to y'all who eat these animals.
I don't know, y'all, me. Now let's say crabs feel pain, and let's draw up some shirts.
I mean, I would wear that shirt.
Let's do it, man. I'll wear the shirt too then. To show you that I think it's a good thing.
Being on social media, I see a lot of people doing abusive and torturous things to crustaceans that if they did it to a chicken or a pig, people would be outraged. I see that all the time on social media. And I think
live ones?
Yes.
Oh.
I don't. You can mutilate something that's dead, but you can't torture something that's not dead. I've seen people online pick up live crabs and break open their shells, pull off their claws and shit. And
I ain't never seen shit.
Yeah, I see it on like these cooks. These cooks, I saw this couple online. They went out and bought some shrimp. I mean, some lobsters, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna have a lobster dinner. And the lobster were live on their, and they're bashing the lobsters with meat cleaver, and the lobster's flying off the counter. It's alive and moving, and they're laughing and drinking wine. I see people, and because humans, we're primates. And in order for us to have some level of empathy for many of us, because these animals don't have the large interactive eyes or expressive faces, and they don't even have anything we would recognize as faces. They don't have fur or hair. We don't see them as living creatures worthy of our empathy.
Well, let's transition to that was your joy. Now let's go to your sorrow.
It's not my joy. You ruined it.
No, that was your joy. What's in that cup, bro?
Listen, if you were fully vegan, do whatever you want with the animal.
I ain't say that.
I'm glad that there's a call. I hope that this movement gains momentum and is ultimately successful.
But what's in that cup? Is it oat milk latte in that cup? Because you are messing up the coffee.
I only have oat milk lattes on Wednesdays and Sundays. I'm not allowed to have them. But the holidays are coming up. Kwanzaa's coming up, so a lot of times I'm allowed to have my lattes outside of Wednesdays.
But tell me why you should have the lattes when you know the economy is fucked up with the coffee, and why you ain't doing alternative coffee to coffee.
What's alternative? There is no alternative to coffee.
Damn lie! It's 20 alternatives.
There is no. That's like going to somebody like there's an alternative to crack. Ain't nothing do me like crack. Listen, ain't no alternative to coffee.
It is.
Y'all out here talking about alternatives to coffee. Y'all
bro. You know what? I'm gonna send you a bottle of this. Matter of fact, I got an alternative to tequila. You want it? Let me send you.
No, I don't drink tequila.
It's an alternative, bro. It's not even tequila.
Is it virgin?
Yes, it's 100. What is it? 0 proof, 0% proof.
Okay,
real. I'm all right.
Drinks, man. Besides my a couple of glasses of red wine a week.
I'm gonna send you this, and you and Dr. Mango should make a mocktail. I don't know if you can see it.
I don't know about that, man. I'm not.
Why?
Go on and shoot me, because my wife, she come from a family of drinkers.
Look,
she come from a family of men.
I'm gonna shoot you the text to it, but
of
that's Paloma.
Men who smoke cigars and drink brown liquors. That's where my wife, she came up that way, and so she got that in her DNA. I don't want her to switch up on me.
Man, whatever. Nah, but look. So I meant to show you this, all these alternatives, and then while I'm doing that, because
good job.
Because of capitalism. Is coffee even a major industry because of is that like even a good industry?
No, it's horrible.
And wasn't it built to
environment
more?
Coffee is horrendous. The abuses of the coffee in it, but the produce, everything is up, everything bad, man. Everything.
Yeah, but I'm like before the coffee though. I'm talking about like even before like the actual, but like. Did it become a major industry because like, listen, you're going to be tired of shit and you should just run off coffee and just keep producing all this wealth for me?
I don't think that's why coffee. I know that I've read several history books where there were like other stimulants and amphetamines given to workers and given to soldiers. But I don't think that. I think coffee is such a major industry because people do get the charge, but I think that it's also the various. I think it's just good.
Look, you dandelion group is good. Kombucha is good. Chaga.
Do you understand what an alternative is?
Yes.
What is an alternative?
It's something that gives you either the same or placebo effect as the thing that you're trying to alternate from. But so some of these are placebos, but some of them actually are better than coffee, give you more energy than coffee.
I don't drink coffee for energy.
What are you drinking for?
Taste? The taste.
Okay, so there we go.
Listen.
Mushroom coffee got taste. Chai, date seeds coffee. Chaga got coffee, and you know what else tastes like coffee?
I don't care. When I got coffee.
You ain't trying to be sustainable.
I don't care. When I got coffee, y'all could do that.
What you mean? We about to run out of coffee. Didn't you read the article you sent us?
Let me ask you a question. Is there an alternative to the African woman?
Yeah. It is. You know what it is?
I'd love to know.
The African American woman. And then the Afro-Brazilian woman.
Nah. You thought about what you said.
That's the alternative. You asked me if there's an alternative. You said there's an alternative to the African woman.
The African American woman is not an African woman.
That's the alternative to the African woman.
But it's not an African woman.
She would have to become African again. Ain't Bobby E writing all them set up?
An African American and an African.
She has evolved into something of a sub-African, and she had to become African again.
What is the difference?
Ideology.
You don't know many Africans, do you? How many Africans you know? Let me get you on the phone with some of my Africans.
Ideology and identity.
No,
identity. Okay, I said ideology, but I meant identity.
Ethiopian, a Gambian, a Kenyan, an Tanzanian. I can get you on the phone with at least half a dozen Nigerians, and I promise you, when you ask them about their ideology, you will find no distinction between how they think and Jesus Christ.
No, I'm talking about identity. I said identity.
American thing. So I'm gonna ask you one more time and see if you can give me
identity. First of all, I'm replacing you next week with Nathaniel because he's the smarter guy.
What is the difference between an African American and an African?
Identity. How they identify.
How do you identify?
I identify as an African.
American.
African.
So that's the only difference. Then essentially, there's no difference.
That's the alternative. That's what you said. You asked me what's the alternative because African is a bunch of African women.
Clean up real nice.
And in fact, some of the African
clean up real nice. You say some out of pocket shit and then run from it.
No, I didn't. You know what the problem is? You asked me a question and before I answer, you start answering it for me and you thinking I'm saying something different, but you ain't even heard me the first time.
I do that because I care about you. I don't.
You was a lying son of a chaga. Like there's a lot of intelligent people in the chat, and I feel like Nate.
What the hell is chaga?
It's like a mushroom.
I'm gonna go to my goddamn kitchen, get my goddamn organic beans.
Where you get the beans from?
Grinder.
Where you get the beans?
Get out my goddamn hand express press, and I'm gonna drink me some coffee.
You ain't doing nothing.
And all that other shit y'all on, all that off.
Show me your beans you got.
Shit.
Show me you got it. What beans you got? Let me see your beans.
I
don't even think you make coffee like that. You don't. Huh? There's no way that you grind coffee and you do all that stuff.
I do grind coffee. What is you talking about?
Where you get your beans?
I grind my own beans. I buy whole beans.
From where?
There are several places. I go to Intelligentsia Coffee. When I travel, I always try to go to the different roasters and independent cafes. So I got coffee from all over.
Listen, if y'all gonna drink wine, you might as well do chaga.
What's chaga?
I just told you.
Is that the coffee alternative or a wine alternative?
That's one of many of coffee alternative.
Let's get to the next thing, man. You didn't just said that African Americans ain't African.
No, you said they're alternative African. They when they become African again, then they can be African. But until
then, you become African again?
Yep.
And what makes you African?
Huh?
What makes you African?
It's what I identify as.
So if I go get an Uncle Tom on the continent, and then I go get me some Arabized African and say I'm a Muslim, I'm not African.
If you get an Uncle Tom from Africa, he's not going to identify as African.
Who say they ain't black and they ain't African, huh?
Uncle Tom's in Africa not even going to identify as African.
Right.
Say, I'm so when you say go get an Uncle Tom, I don't know what to tell you.
Let's just okay. Can we get into the final?
Yeah, what's the final one? I thought that was the final one.
Coffee?
Oh.
Should we skip the coffee? It's a sad story. Let's leave on a high note. And there's a acknowledgement of the capacity of pain of crustaceans. And even if they don't pass a ban, if you a bone sucking, if you out here,
wait, time out, science man, science man,
here drinking the excretions of animals.
I just gave you an alternative to coffee which also is better for the environment, the way in which the coffee industry is ran, and you shitted on it.
Yes.
That's wild.
Yeah, man.
You
Like,
talk about my crustacean argument? That's crazy.
that's hard, man. Hey, listen. Allow me that.
You can have the coffee, bro.
All the vices I overlook.
But you also
all
can't.
the vices that you have that I overlook.
I don't got all no kind of vices. First of all, you ain't even try half of the other things that you call alternative. That's
Don't
not
need
good.
it. I'm content.
You close.
I ain't like you.
Don't
I'm
you want
content
people
with
to
my
try
life. Why I
different
gotta chase
ideologies?
all these other women? I'm not like you, man. When I'm content, I just sit down. I stay where I'm at. I'm mad loyal.
Okay,
you don't know nothing about that.
So the
You
people
don't know
who
nothing about that.
the people who
No, nothing about that.
the people who eat crab, they content, and so you tell them that it hurt, they don't care about that. So the content that you have is
I only consume organic, ethically sourced coffee.
Who this now? Who this showing off? Who that is? Can I make her African, please? See what you
do that on your own time, man. Do that off the top. Don't bring that around here. Don't bring all that. No, listen.
All right, man. We
got
got
that on your own time, man.
Late, man.
No fraternizing on the clock.
Hey, man, listen, they shooting. Listen. All right, but yeah.
All I'm saying is, even if there is no law, even if white daddy don't put down an edict, you in your own personal life, can you not boil crustaceans alive? Because they have the capacity to suffer. So don't boil them alive. Don't eat them at all. But if you are compelled,
you got to give them an alternative. What's the alternative, Diallo?
Going vegan.
No, that's not an alternative. Not for them.
I've had vegan crab meat, which tasted weird as hell, and they even put the red stripe on that shit. It was weird.
That's not vegan, bro. So imitation crab?
No.
Oh.
It was a Sarset. You know the Sarset Society?
Yeah, I know them.
They had a little restaurant in Brooklyn.
Oh, I don't know.
They had this crab shit. They called it crab.
The only thing, hearts of palm, they might have probably used hearts of palm because I make my hearts of palm cakes using hearts of palm. So maybe that's what they was doing. Hopefully.
Whatever, man. I don't need my vegan stuff to mimic meat.
Well, people need their meat stuff to mimic or taste like plants. So
yes, very clever. So we don't have time to get into the coffee story. It's too tragic anyway.
Okay. I didn't even write any notes other than trying to figure out. I was trying to find what media apparatus or what tactics was created or used to make coffee a staple in the worker life. Like how was coffee introduced to America?
You think it was some conspiracy like diamonds?
No, I just think like the promotion of it, just like the promotion of cigarettes was like, how can you get more out of the workers? Give them more energy so that they can work harder. So a coffee break sounds like something that happened at a company or corporation. So I don't know. That's why I never even knew that, and I never also drank coffee like that either.
I would think that
in fact, the one time I did drink coffee,
I think that
regularly was when I was driving. Like I was working for Enterprise, and I had to drive the vehicles from one city to the other, and like I wanted to stay up, and so obviously that's helping me work and not kill my damn self. So I don't know. That's what I was thinking too. Eric Bernay. Yeah, maybe because coffee like Folgers, was that popping before cigarettes? Was coffee like in American
tobacco?
Yeah, you remember when Eric Bernay and all of them started talking about cigarettes and he started selling it? Was coffee already American value?
Well, here's a short article on how coffee went from being something that was consumed by a small population for religious and cultural practices and becoming an international and globally desired product. So, I'll just share that.
So if we read it and it has new information like your scientist, you're gonna change your habits?
What do you mean?
If you read something and you are in full disagreement with it and realize that it's bad, you're gonna stop doing it?
Consuming coffee?
Yeah.
Well,
come on now.
I consume coffee as ethically as I can.
But I ain't saying that. I'm saying when we read this article and it sent us down to a deep research and we realize that coffee
what
is
scenario would you imagine would forbade me from consuming coffee?
I mean, that's what people say about the crab meat, but
I'm asking you, that's two different things, man. You're
this industry.
Remember when we were children and they would give us this worksheet that had two related objects and you had to draw the line? Yeah. Like it'd be an image of toothpaste and an image of a toothbrush and an image of a car and an image of a steering wheel. And then the teacher says, draw a line that connects which is connect. I'm sure you did very poorly.
No, I did well, actually.
On those exams.
I did really well.
Making leaps.
No, I did really well.
Oh, you drink coffee. That's no different than boiling a crab alive.
No, I didn't say that. That's what you heard. I said, what happens if you learn some information? No. Let me finish. This is why you don't ever get it. This is why you don't see the connect. So just as well as you presented science is a good thing, and that's more of ammunition to get people to respond to new information. I said, if this article does the same thing as it pertains to coffee, will you stop drinking coffee? And you backpedal and you dance all the way around because you be like, what's going to make me stop drinking coffee? I'm just saying.
I can't even conceptualize. I can't even imagine. So can you?
That's my point. That's my point. Crab eaters cannot imagine that you would tell them not to boil the crab.
Give me a hypothetical of something that could come out about coffee that's not already known, or something that you know about coffee that I don't. That would, based on my values, my ethics, and how I move, would say, hey, I'm never going to consume coffee again. Give me a scenario.
Coffee contributes to soil erosion drastically.
That's agriculture in general.
Well, I'm saying. And then
that's commercial agriculture.
And then the plant cries. The plant feels pain.
I would still consume plants.
Okay, so that's what I'm trying to say.
Because human beings have a physiological need for plants. Human beings don't have a physiological need to consume animals.
Coffee feels pain when you grind them up, bro.
Again,
I'm joking.
Human beings have a physiological need to consume plants. The nutrients and fiber in plants are necessary to sustain us.
Plants, but not coffee.
The flesh of animals is an adaptation. Human beings, we are primates, and primates, by and large, can survive on a plant-based diet.
Plants, not coffee. The human body does not need to
coffee. Is a plant, and also
not all plants. You don't eat all plants. So you eat that plant right there.
I don't eat it. But again, I sat next to your ass and you drank a coffee.
I knew, but you trying to convince people.
You're just being absurd.
No, I'm asking you. I'm not.
I've answered you. And then you
know what else I drink? I drink mushroom.
And then when I asked you for a scenario that would say, hey, well, you're saying, well, ecologically, plants. But yes, I do. And so, I generally make an effort, and it's relatively successful, fortunately, because of where I live, where I can find coffee that is, the companies are certified as far as carbon fixing and carbon credits. They're ethically sourced and organically produced. So that's the type of coffee that I seek out and purchase. Not that I think it's world changing, but I do, if I do see an opportunity to consume something from small, localized, and that has a ethical or mutually beneficial partnership with growers, then yeah, I would get that.
All right, well, I'm gonna go get me some coffee, some mushroom coffee, and get my power up.
But no, I didn't see anything in the overview where there were tyrants who said the peasants are awfully lazy. Let's get them hooked on coffee. I don't see that anywhere.
Yeah, I don't think it was that thing.
I think it was the flavor, the aroma, and I know the neurological and psychological impacts of coffee definitely have contributed to its popularity. But like I said, there are many, especially in military history, that where workers were supplied with amphetamines and other stimulants in order to extract or exploit them. But I don't think coffee was ever used in that way.
Wait, who did that? Oh, all right, man. Time to call it a night. What you got going on this weekend?
It's the holiday, man. A whole bunch of nothing. I'm just gonna sit down until January.
Y'all traveling? No, or somebody coming to y'all?
Hell no. For what?
I thought y'all sometime be traveling to see family.
No. Hell no. Well, I think we're going out to my mother-in-law's.
Oh, you get along with your in-law as well?
Very much so.
That's good.
Better than my wife. I think our mother loves me more than her.
You be like, she did good. You did good. You got a good. She be saying,
I think I lucked out because my mother-in-law only has daughters. And so she has adopted her son-in-laws, me and her other son-in-laws.
Mm-hmm.
It's like her son. So I think that's a key. If you want to get along with your mother-in-law, find an older woman that doesn't get with a sister that don't have any brothers.
Good point. Nah, I gotta go. I'm going to see my mom Sunday.
Oh,
she was so excited. She bought me a plane ticket.
Oh, that's nice.
Let's go. Come on now. Yeah. And then
down. You got. Aren't you going
up?
You're going west. Yeah, you ain't going down.
Up. Well, yeah, I'm gonna say come on down. Come on. She's in Philly, not Philly. Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
Dover, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Oh shit! I forgot. It's probably cold.
There's only one time I've ever traveled during the Christmas holidays. One time in my entire life. And it was horrendous. Like I was sleeping on a cot. I was stuck in the airport for almost a week, sleeping on cots. Because it was I was working in California and they let us off to go home for the holidays. So I was trying to fly home and for the holidays because that's the only time they let us go home. And there was a big snowstorm. So I was in Los Angeles and it was beautiful. It was sunny and warm. And I flew into Colorado and a big storm hit. And then they was like, well, the airport's shutting down. They started giving out these vouchers for hotel rooms.
Oh, yeah.
And I went and I'm like, I'm not going to get no hotel room. I'm going to get on the next flight because if you take the hotel room, then you have to stay till the next day. But if you waited on the list and they open back up, you'd be at the. So I wanted to stay on the front of the list because I wanted to get home. And you know what they did?
They were
like, huh?
You got a cot.
Ran out of the hotel tickets and all the hotels were full. So then they gave out cots.
I know. I heard the cot in the story when you started talking.
Yeah, and then they flew me to Colorado and then they took me to and I'm in awe. And I was like, I'm not, I'm like Jesus. I'm just going to stay in the manger.
Listen,
I don't mess around with Jesus' birthday.
I've been back in this country for a year and I be forgetting that it be cold as shit. And I wasn't really. And then even in Atlanta, it was hot a couple of days. One day is hot, next day is cold. One day is really hot with short pants hot. And then tomorrow, the fucking ice on the car. So,
yeah. Well, I hope you travel safely.
Yeah, man.
And enjoy your people.
I sure will. We're gonna be drinking coffee. In fact, I'm taking my step pop some coffee.
Well, the coffee prices are estimated are about 40% increase, and they're estimated to go upwards to about 60% increase in coffee prices because of the drought. The Amazon has a drought, global warming, and all that.
We get free coffee over here.
Where?
Food Bank.
Oh, good.
Whole Foods coffee. Good shit. But see the people next week, man.
All right. See who?
Those people. And people in the chat.
Shout out to Mr. Faulty. Watching Made in Manhattan. I don't play like that. He must be a newlywed.
Who?
He's watching Made in Manhattan.
Oh, Okay.
Yeah, my wife likes those rom-coms, I think they're called. Yeah,
rom-coms are dope, man. You know? When you single, you be looking forward for the rom-com. See,
nah.
You've been in
There's
there.
only one rom-com that I watched that I actually liked.
What's that?
I'm ashamed to admit.
What? I can't even think of a rom-com that I would think you would like.
You just said you liked them.
I said you would like.
No, I've seen a few, you know.
But you don't even look like someone. You look like you too
alpha. What's up? You got a new studio?
Yeah, man. You know, this is gonna be my new studio.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Them barber chairs.
Yeah, this is Killer Mike one. That's Killer Mike's chair. No, I'm joking. Nah, but yeah, that we got this. We got a container. So we have a shrimp cooperative. It's an aquaponics container where we're gonna use the waste of the shrimp to feed up and grow some herbs. But we got the container right there, and this is like those workspaces where I guess it's like those co-working spaces, and so they got a podcast studio in there that nobody ever used. And I'd rather do it here than at my house.
But anyway, so good night to everyone. Thank you for and like, share, subscribe, supporting the Class Con critiques, and enjoy. Happy holidays.
Stop lying.
Hopefully,
branch.
Kwanzaa clause, Karinga clause, or Kwanzaa clause will pay you a visit if you've been conscious and been woke all year.
That man can't be serious.
Huh?
You can't be serious.
I'm dead ass. Until next time.
All right, y'all.
Subscribe to the damn thing. Peace.
Drink coffee and mushrooms.